we're going to move on to some heavily peated stuff. So you're about to get all the smoke you want and more. So the island of Isla is probably about 2,500 people total. It's really small. You can drive from one end to the other in maybe 20 minutes. And what you're about to have is the Port Charlotte. So it's named after the village that's right up the road, about 1.5 miles from the island of from the town of Bruichladdich. So even though it's such a small island, they still have different towns along the way. This warehouse houses a good majority of our heavily peated stuff, and in order to pay homage to the peat that they really foster and house for us, they named it Port Charlotte.
There's the elevation making poetic justice. How's the elevation like?
It's pretty flat. Yeah, there's where Bruichladdich is right off the water, and yeah, I mean it's a little hilly, but I mean for the most part there's not too many mountainous areas.
So it's like basically on the shore, right?
Yeah, it's right on the shore. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry? I don't know if it was. That might have been before my time. But they wanted to, I know that they changed the bottle shape recently, just to kind of pay homage to like a traditional peaty Scotch whiskey, and it almost has a medicinal look to it, like an old school medicine bottle. So it definitely is, kind of leaning into the Isla stereotype with the bottling and the packaging. They've done a whole brand kind of update with the packaging, which I think is really just, it works for what you're getting. I think so too, and I think the yellow and the gray really is a good touch. Another thing about Bruichladdich is we're super into like taking care of the environment, so we want our carbon footprint to be as small as possible. We're actually one of the only liquor companies that is registered B Corp. So you might be familiar with B Corp from brands like Patagonia, or I think Yeti is too. But it basically is you do everything you can to eliminate your carbon footprint as a business. So, I mean, there's talks of us going away from having a tin because we think that could be, just adding to more waste in the world. Everything we do, we try to source as locally as possible. But for us to be certified B Corp was a huge deal. And I think that a lot of the Remy Cointreau portfolio will, shift to that standard, because it is a really high standard to hold yourself to. It's like if you had, to be certified organic, the literature and the steps you have to go through is, insane, and it's similar for this. So this guy's smoky.
How do you know if a bottle is the E150?
Oh, you don't. No. No. We just don't. We don't. So you'll find other scotches, bourbons, cognacs. They'll add the E150 because they want it to be that pretty caramely color, and not rely on nature. But it's none of ours do. Bruichladdich is anti that. And then we also don't chill filter. So chill filtering basically removes essential oils from a product, and that's what gives it the flavor. So a lot of people will chill filter their products. Remove that flavor, and then add it in artificially. So it's just, why would you do that? Why would you give yourself 50 extra steps for something that's going to happen naturally from your product? So we don't do any of that stuff.
Like, it's a beautiful natural color.
Yeah.
But like some other bottles won't look the same as this.
For the most part, they're all going to be that color. This guy,
9 years.
this guy's 9. This is a 2010.
What's on the bottle is the cask exploration series. What does that mean?
So that means that they have used a certain set of casks that they got. So this is actually a limited release, Port Charlotte. So Port Charlotte is going to have several different releases under it. So not all of them are going to be a cask exploration series. So for the most of them, they're going to be ex-American oak, ex-bourbon barrels. But this is a specialized portion of cask, so it could be from one particular distillery or one particular brand or...
Like hand-picked cask or whatever.
Yeah. So for the most part, it's probably going to be a hand-picked cask that they thought that all of these casks had a similar, history and could really bring something unique to the PC10.
Where is Port Charlotte?
About 1.5 miles up the road from Bruichladdich.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
I don't know if you covered this earlier. What makes this a lot more peat heavy than the other two?
So peat is actually something that is earth, and so it's basically like leaves and soil and all that stuff that has been condensed over thousands and thousands of years. And a lot of times people will dig it up and use it for like a natural source of fossil fuel, like to warm your house. But people in Ireland, Scotland, it's also something that is a huge part of their flavor profiles for not just scotch and whiskey, but in their everyday lives. So basically what they do is they dig that peat up, and whenever they're mashing the barley, they smoke that peat underneath it, and it in turn gives it that smoky flavor.
Okay, so is this like a stronger version?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a heavier peat for sure.
What's the scale that you measure the peat?
ppm.
ppm.
Uh-huh.
Gotcha. Okay.
Phenols per... Nope. Not going to get it. Not going to get it. Not going to get it. But it's ppm.
ppm.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but I know it's like a chart.
Yes.
It's like a grid.
Yes.
Smokiness, peat.
And this guy is... Nope, also not going to get this one. Yeah. For sure.
But like, it's still, I would say,
Are you getting the heat off of this guy? Yeah.
for sure getting some heat.
Uh-huh.
When the tastes like leather tobacco on fire.
Yeah. It might be on the tin what the actual ppm is, because they do want to...
Now it tastes like a 90, like super bold and in your face. For sure. It's more like a fucking 15, 16.
Huh.
I literally wrote down it tastes like leather tobacco on fire. I love
No dice on the ppm for this one, but on the Octomores, they actually put it on the bottle because it's so different for everyone. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are we going in order from like lowest?
Yes. Uh-huh. So the Octomores, if you like the smoky stuff, what you're about to have, it's really, really smoky. So like I said, one of the only unpeated Islay Scotch whiskeys on the island to literally the most heavily peated Scotch in the world, which is this guy. And this was a release about 4 years ago. So if you dare, you can try this guy. But we're going to start with this year's release with the